Hello, Chicago Scholars family. I'm coming to you today from Atlanta, and as chair of the board of directors and a co-chair for today's event, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you to our 25th anniversary celebration. Thank you to so many donors, board members, families, volunteers, staff, and friends who have been on this journey with us for the last 25 years and who continue to stand with us as we look to the future. I can hardly believe we made it to this special day. It's been an intense couple of years for our scholars, for the city of Chicago, and for our world. I still remember the time someone mentioned to me that during my time as board chair, we'd be crossing off this milestone. I was excited to take on the challenge of not only a big event, but a big fundraising campaign. Little did I know that the world would change so much and look so different once we finally arrived here today. Some people might wonder why we decided to forge onward with celebrating on this day in October instead of postponing. I can answer that question in one word: on-site. Earlier today, close to 1,000 high school seniors, including our Chicago Scholars class of 2026 and a few hundred community partner students, interviewed for acceptance to college. More than 3,000 interviews with more than 150 college partners happened today. And while we had to host those interviews virtually, we know our scholars were ready to show up and shine as they always do. Make sure to check out chicagoscholars.org to see the amazing number of college admissions that occurred today and the millions of dollars in scholarships awarded. Yes, I did say millions of dollars awarded today. We are gathering today to celebrate our amazing first-year scholars as they take one step closer to being the first in their families to graduate college. We are gathering today to celebrate the achievements of more than 1,500 scholar alumni who are out in the world doing incredible things, not only leading Chicago and their communities across the globe, but working towards a better and brighter future for us all. We are gathered here today to celebrate the last 25 years of leadership and legacy that is Chicago Scholars, and to march boldly into the years to come. Thank you for joining Chicago Scholars for this milestone and all of your support along the way. We wouldn't be here today without you. Thank you.
Education is so much the gateway, the y-axis. You get to a certain point.
I and my wife, Pat Polito Sanchez, believe that but for higher education, neither one of us would have accomplished what we have professionally, civically, and philanthropically.
The opportunities and the availability of a different life. I just feel like the more that I can provide that, not just to my own family, but be a part of providing that to other people who I don't know, the better I feel.
It's important for Chicago to acknowledge the differences amongst everyone and also embrace the talent from all different areas.
I felt that it was important to be grounded in some purpose that I would feel passionate about.
I'm super optimistic about the future of the city because of organizations like Chicago Scholars.
It was 25 years ago
My childhood friends and I decided
that they wanted to start a charity called, at the time, College Bound.
We held a party at a bar, then everybody chipped in a couple of dollars, and we concluded that we would offer a scholarship to 5 kids.
we raised, I think, $25,000, and soon thereafter we selected 10 scholars. We started mentoring our scholars from junior year in high school through the end of their college.
25 years ago, when we started Chicago Scholars, the high school graduation rate in the city of Chicago hovered around 43%. That wasn't getting the attention of the rest of the leadership of the city.
I had to combine the mission of trying to perpetuate and enhance higher education in our community and become a role model, which was missing when I was a kid. It was natural for us to build something that could have as one of the criteria economic disadvantage, economic need.
And I think Tim really planted the seed for us.
Chicago Scholars is the result of 4 mergers.
Tim, with his contacts and his breadth of his program, and with our depth of our program, that one day we could merge the two and really have a great organization.
They loved our programming. We loved their reach.
There were 2 ideas behind the creation of Chicago Scholars. One was to bring these young people to the forefront, to showcase them to our leadership. And then at the same time, to gather up students from every neighborhood in the city and showcase them back into the neighborhoods so that children everywhere could see them, be inspired by them, and want to be just like them.
We were a small organization, college bound, and I think we maybe had 25 or 50 scholars.
There are now 5,000 Chicago scholars and alums from every neighborhood, almost every school in the city of Chicago. And they're graduating from leading colleges and universities all across the country in important positions and careers in almost every facet of our economy.
We have an amazing community of philanthropists within the city who have helped to get the organization to where it's at today.
And we have found out in the process over the last 25 years that there are a lot of Latinos and African Americans who are economically disadvantaged, and yet they have such treasures in their personality, in their intellect, in their character, and we've been able to tap into that by giving them a chance to get some education, some higher education.
I still think back to 3 of my mentees that I've had the pleasure of mentoring over the 25 years. One of them is a senior executive for Nike right now. Another is deputy general counsel at a Fortune 500 company. Another is a vice president of real estate at a huge Chicago real estate company right now. Those are definitely my proudest moments for sure.
Seeing all of these young people leaning in, filled with nervous energy, walking to their interviews, and then in a few moments later, cheering, crying, celebrating their admission to college, and being recruited with a financial stipend to mark the stars that they are. Seeing their lives pivot in that moment is heartwarming, it's moving, and it's so gratifying.
Pride for me is to be able to say as a legacy that we started something 25 years ago.
In the next 5 years, Chicago Scholars will go from 5,000 scholars and alums to 10,000. And the impact that they will have on their communities and our cities will grow exponentially. To all of our Chicago scholars,
Go bold.
Dream big.
Keep on trucking.
Give it your fullest.
You are the solution.
Future leaders of Chicago.
Inspirational, motivational.
we believe in you and we hope you do as well.
A standout football player, a first-generation college student, two very different backgrounds, one goal, attend college. Thanks to Chicago Scholars, they were able to do that.
Chicago Scholars means everything to me.
I feel empowered to do anything in life and to change the world, and I feel like not a lot of people can say that.
I was one of those kids who was always looking for different things I can involve myself in. One day I came upon Chicago Scholars during a Google search.
At first I was a little skeptical because I wasn't sure if like all the resources were actually true. Like I never really know if like some programs really just say things off the bat to like get students interested. When I realized, okay, I need to find a balance between school, figuring out what resources are out there, and then also like balancing ACT and SAT, I just said, you know what, I think Chicago Scholars is the program for me. I decided on Loyola because I realized that I wanted to stay in Chicago. Being a first-generation student can be a lot more difficult. You never really know who to reach out to. Sometimes we think we know what we're doing, and then we find out we could have done something easier. I know a lot of first-gen students have younger siblings, and that's mainly our motivation, to show them you're not alone the same way we felt alone. I would say that the biggest contribution they had is just placing people in my life that were able to help me out through like the most difficult times.
That same help was key when Malcolm faced challenges at school.
I had a rough time starting off in college, just getting acclimated to having so much freedom. And I got off track in classes. My mentor from Chicago Scholars used to sit on the phone and listen to me cry and talk through different things with me, provide me with different resources to continue growing, to continue putting myself in better positions, to improve my grades.
During Malcolm's junior year, he attended a workshop that opened the door to many opportunities.
I had the opportunity to attend a career readiness, resume building and networking event that was hosted at the Chicago Scholars campus or building, and they put us in front of 1,000 individuals who were successful in their career, and just gave us opportunity to network, build our resume, find different ways to grow, all types of things. And I vividly remember standing up, introducing myself, giving my bio, and the guy in the back of the class stands up and said, "Hey, did you say supply chain management?" I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Meet me after this event." After that event, I went, shook his hand. He had just retired from McDonald's after working there for 45 years. And his best friend was the VP of the supply chain department still at McDonald's. He connected us via email. That led to a job shadowing event. And 2 years later, that led to I'm a McDonald's employee now. They root for you, love, support you in every capacity way possible. The mentors, the workshops, you have a team of people behind you cheering for you, so you can't give up. It's just a big piece for me.
Just recently, Malcolm came home and held a block party at Wendell Phillips Academy to provide the resources for a new STEM lab. His goal? To sell t-shirts where 100% of the proceeds would go back to the school.
I had a total of 22 corporate sponsors, one being one of my biggest corporate sponsors being Chicago Scholars. Chicago Cubs got involved, National Society of Black Engineers, and the list goes on and on. And I actually want to say that Mr. Jeff Beckham is the reason I received 4 of those corporate sponsorships. He pushed the word out to everybody he could. I love Chicago Scholars. I promise to play my part and continuing the work that you all did.
It will not only help you to apply and to get into a university, it will help you in your life, to remind you that you're not just a student in a school. You're a human being who needs that support system, a human being that needs to just stay motivated and to have goals, because that's what they want us to have goals. They want us to change, make a better change in the world. So it's not only about you, it's about your community, it's about the people around you.
If you're in Chicago Scholars and not taking advantage of the opportunities they offer to you, you need to. And if you're graduating or about to graduate, you need to come back and help Chicago Scholars.
We needed to do something as adults to take care of these young people, because it's not just about taking care of them, it's really about taking care of us, the whole community. People need to believe that transformation is possible.
Just the thought of impacting students from every neighborhood, every high school was exciting to me.
I'm a first-gen kid myself, and so this was a passion project for me.
I am a first-generation, low-income college student, the first in my family to graduate high school, to go on to college. And so naturally, I chose a profession that wanted to do the same. Chicago Scholars was originally known for this program that got young people into college. If you think about it, 200 colleges would fly in from all over the country to interview young people, to offer admission, right, and to change their lives on this one particular day.
The mission was to build this generation of very diverse kids from every neighborhood, proving that there's talent in every single neighborhood in Chicago through this college-bound program. And that's exactly what we did. It was a clear mission.
We are investing in young people from every neighborhood, every high school. And so an investment, the way that I thought about it, an investment in Chicago Scholars was an investment in our city. So when I think about this work of college access and leadership development, it is so much bigger than just that degree. I've sat down with thousands of young people. And one of the things that I saw is that many of them came back with a degree, but no job. So we had to extend that finish line to say, actually, what really does matter? That job really matters. What I'm doing after graduation really matters. And that's not only good for the scholar, that's good for their families, their siblings, the people watching them in their neighborhoods.
It's the single biggest fundraiser in Chicago, probably in the history of the city. There's no other single event that I'm aware of that generates that kind of cash. So it's great. My dream over the next 25 years is that 3,000 becomes the 6,000, becomes the 20,000. It's really been a blessing.
I meet young people all the time who say, I was a Chicago Scholar. They are teachers at CPS, they are lawyers, they are in graduate school, there's a dermatologist that I just met. They're in every single field. I've met some Chicago Scholars in the airport in other cities. And so it's inspiring. And I think it's that aspirational vision. You want to be able to walk anywhere in Chicago at the very least and run into a Chicago Scholar. And I think that vision is being realized.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey Beckham Jr., CEO of Chicago Scholars. I couldn't be more proud or humbled to stand before you today as the leader of this incredible organization that strives to support the leadership development of Chicago's top young talent. I took over as CEO during the second half of the pandemic, and while the world may have hit the pause button, Chicago Scholars did not. We've now had 2 classes of scholars start their journeys with us virtually. That didn't stop them. These amazing young students are still thriving and persisting into top colleges across the country at the same rate as before the pandemic. Our office, normally a vibrant and active community, sits quiet and still, but our volunteers and our staff are actively engaged in virtual programming and counseling and mentoring sessions from kitchen tables and home offices and even basement closets day in and day out to make certain our scholars are getting the supports they deserve. And our board of directors, our founders council, and key partners and advisors have been working in partnership with me to set the organization's vision for the next 25 years. We have some big audacious goals for the future of Chicago Scholars. We want to ensure that every young Chicagoan who wants to go to college and be a leader in their communities has that chance. We want to encourage young Black and brown men to dream big and know that there's a support system for them to achieve their aspirations, despite what they may have heard along the way. We want to use technology and meet students and families wherever they are, providing access to resources and people that will guide our scholars to college, through college, and into the careers of tomorrow. Chicago Scholars is ready to move forward. We hope you will join us in the next phase of our work. This important work wouldn't have the impact it does today without our community of mentors, volunteers, alumni, career and college partners, and without a doubt, the family members and parents of our scholars. One way that Chicago Scholars has recognized those who embody the values of our organization is with the presentation of the Crystal Award. Before we announce this year's honoree, let's take a look back at the origin of the Crystal Award at Chicago Scholars.
I met Crystal 2 years ago, being the mother of Corey Ward, one of our scholars that we selected. And I met Crystal at our orientation program, which is our first program that we hold with our students. And she walked up to me in a crowded room full of parents and students. And I thought it was really just to introduce herself. And she said, "Can I speak to you outside of this room?" I said, "Absolutely." So we went to a quiet space, and I thought she was going to just, tell me a little bit about who she was or her son. And the first thing she says to me is, "Hi, my name is Crystal Ward, and I'm dying of cancer." And it took my breath away. And the next line she said was, "And I want you to promise me you will help my son go to college." It was something that I carry with me all the time, in the sense that it really is to the core of the work that we do, but more importantly, to really be committed to helping that young man move forward. Having only met Corey briefly, this was my first impression of his mother and her commitment and love for her son.
My mother went like, "Okay, you're going to college. That is it. You needed to live, you needed to survive, you will go to college." So it was always on the table. Every time we had a meeting, she was there. She was talking to everyone. She was making sure she knew. It was like she was the student instead of me. She's loving. She's a great mother. She's always there. She puts family first, because she was going to do some things, but she wanted to be with me, so she stopped.
My son Corey Ward was born, and I really didn't want him at the time because my husband was acting sort of silly, as you know, I can understand that. But my mama said, "This is a special baby because you couldn't get pregnant, and obviously there's a reason." So I had him, and he was born 1 week before my mother died of cancer. Last October, I was diagnosed with cancer, nasopharyngeal carcinoma stage 2. And my son Corey took care of me. He carried me up 15 steps to be in the bed. He put me in the tub, and he never said a mumbling word. He was always there. And he still has a 3.8 average. My son, I love him dearly. Even if he never got into college, he's a great kid. But he was accepted into 2 already. And I just want you to know, I thank you for what you're doing for him, because he's a great, great kid, and he's gonna make you proud. He's already made me proud.
What you knew was what she did for her family, what she did for her friends. You knew that she was there for you whenever you needed it, and probably more. She was a provider for everyone she knew, and she gave people a source of encouragement. And I'm just happy to be her son.
Mom, how do you feel?
I feel ecstatic. I'm so excited and I'm so proud.
I think you should hug him.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah.
I love you.
She was jumping up and down. She was crying. It was very emotional. I mean, you can only imagine, for a mother that worked so hard to help her son get to that point. This is the academic Olympics. I mean, when you get into college, you've worked so hard to get to that point as a parent, as a student. So at the end of the day, we were able to witness that experience, and it was very moving. And the Crystal Award is to honor Crystal Ward and her commitment to the pursuit of post-secondary education for her son. It speaks to the core of what we do, and more importantly, to the passion of this woman and her commitment to her son.
She is proud. She would be proud. She's proud. If she was still alive, she'd probably be calling me every week, though, if not every 2 days. because she would miss her baby, but it's all right. Whoever gets this award, I know that you have been a great parent, that you've been there for your child, that even though your child thought you were sometimes annoying, that you stayed there, and that you knew that you did what you had to do as a parent to make sure that your child succeeded. And I applaud you for doing this.
It is my pleasure to announce that for our 25th anniversary, we are once again honoring a scholar parent with the 2021 Crystal Award. As a mother and an aunt, Toria Baker has made sure that her daughter Cyan and her nephew Jamal Ray were part of the Chicago Scholars Program. She's been a wonderful advocate and volunteer over the years, sharing the mission and the impact of Chicago Scholars with others and showing up time and time again.
My name is Cyan Baker, and I am proud that my mom, Toria Baker, is receiving the Crystal Award.
Why I do what I do when it comes to youth is really, again, building youth and taking them to the next level. It takes a village to be able to support our youth of today. They have the power, they have the positive power to be able to make those changes. They just need that guidance or to know I can do it.
She continues to, do all of this, but it's not often that, you sometimes get an award for what you do because, it's just your passion.
Seeing the impact of having a young lady go through the program and a young man go through the program, two different experiences with the same impact. The biggest thing about Chicago Scholars that I really enjoyed and also saw the value across the board was the organization, how organized they were in covering all the different aspects to be able to help you say you are able to go to college. Having that support to be able to walk you through that journey. Chicago Scholars did that.
She is continuing to push through and do great things for other people. So not only what am I seeing at home, it's also other people are recognizing it as well. And I think that's a really good thing. Hey, I'm proud of you. Keep going. Everything that you do really touches individuals, and you really never know the long-term impact that your, maybe 2 minutes of a conversation can have on their life. And at this point, everyone that I've talked to that has come in contact with you has been inspired by you in some way, even if you didn't think that you really inspired them like that. And they've continued to keep pushing for their goals and their dreams because of you. So I'm proud of you and I love you.
I'm honored. I still have butterflies. I do what I do because I like what I do. So being honored, I am the one that I don't need to have the honor. I'm okay with what I do. And when I see the youth doing the impact, that's when I know I've done a good job. I think there's a lot of people that are in my shoes and may feel the same way, as in the Crystal Award and the mission that she had for her child is the same as we have for our children too. And to be able to be awarded this under her honor is an honor.
Congratulations, Toria. We are so honored to have you and your family as part of our Chicago Scholars family. And thank you to Chicago Scholars alum Corey Ward for sharing his mother's legacy and love with us all. Wow, what an amazing 25th anniversary celebration. I must take a moment to thank our co-chairs of the event, Courtney Gibson and Tim Schwartfigger. Without their leadership and energy, we wouldn't be celebrating together today. To all of our sponsors and donors, thank you for continuing to invest in Chicago Scholars' future. The next phase of our work is inspiring because it's filled with thousands of Chicago's most talented young people shaping their own futures. I hope you've enjoyed our program. Thank you to our Founders Council, our previous leaders, and most importantly, our incredible scholars for their participation, and thanks to all of you for joining us on this special day. Cheers to the next 25 years.